'Tis I, Marinara Man. 'Tis I. Hey everyone, glad to see you back, glad to see you looking fresh. So, it's the holiday season. On the date of recording, it's December 21st, meaning it's officially wintertime. Holiday season is right now, and I'm hoping that Santa this year will bring me a great console generation. That may have been the worst segue of all time. But yeah, I want to talk today about the new console generation. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S just came out. No one has them. But hopefully in 2021 people will actually be able to get them. But not only those two, but I also want to talk about some other game companies. I'm going to talk about the big ones that normally have an E3 presentation, and then a couple others spliced in along the way, just for my own discussion and my own thoughts to be compiled into one place. So here we go. Here's what I hope for the new console generation. Let's kick it off with PlayStation and Sony. Obviously, the new PlayStation 5 just came out. There's a lot of hype surrounding it. There's a lot of new ideas and new games coming. I mean, hopefully there's new games coming to it. Starting off with the big franchises, obviously, Miles Morales just came out. But I want to see more of the Spider-Man games. That they have the franchise there. Give me Spider-Man 2. Give me Venom in it. You have the potential. You have the characters. You have the world. Just go full bore into that, into a Spider-Man 2. I hope Insomniac goes for it, especially now that they're part of Sony Interactive. When the PlayStation 5 was first starting to get revealed, there was three things I really wanted to see from them. New Spider-Man, new God of War, which we are getting. Seeing Kratos and Atreus again. Obviously, more God of War is always a good thing. But the other thing I wanted to see was finally that new Batman game get revealed. But DC had their own event over the summer where they revealed Batman Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, which both look very exciting. I'm excited to play both of them. I really hope that DC and Marvel are able to kick it up this console generation, because superheroes are very weird that we have so many superhero films that do incredibly well at the box office, but not a lot of superhero games. Obviously, there's the Arkham games that have ended, but we're getting more from that world, which is a good thing. And we have the Spider-Man games, and we have the Injustice franchise. Those are like the big ones. And then there's the Lego games as well. 4, yeah, I guess if you count all the Lego games, there's a lot of them. I love the Lego games as well. But I don't really count them as superhero games because, honestly, a Lego Marvel game and a Lego Star Wars game, they feel pretty similar, so it's hard to make the jump of, oh, this one's clearly a superhero game, and this one's not. So I hope to see more superhero games come along. Injustice 3, that'll probably happen. If I keep mentioning it, we can wish it into fruition. But the last thing I wanted to see from Sony, really, is more diversity in their game types. I really love games that Sony makes typically, but a lot of them are over-the-shoulder, third-person action, story-driven type games, which are really well made, don't get me wrong, but I want to see a wider diversification of their game portfolios. Obviously, they're starting with that. They had 2 3D platformers already on the PlayStation 5 with Astro's Playroom and Sackboy's Big Adventure. So it seems like they're going off in the right direction already. But, you know, a big full-blown Sony-made RPG would be really cool to see. You know, more racing games like Gran Turismo's would be cool to see. Just kind of expand the library a little bit. Have more weird outliers. Because when Sony makes a game like Sackboy, it feels like a weird outlier right now because it's not a third-person, over-the-shoulder action game. So by diversifying, it'll make it feel more inclusive. Going off of that, I feel like a way that they could help with that diversification is working more with Level 5 games. And this could go either with Sony or Nintendo, because Level 5 typically works with those two. And it's a shame to hear that Level 5 games may be ceasing production totally in North America, because Level 5 makes some incredible games. You know, Level 5 has the Ni no Kuni games, the Yokai Watch. There's also some one-offs like Fantasy Life and Snack World. So Level 5 has a great library, and helping publish the games would help both companies, because I feel like the games could then get as much exposure as they deserve. Jumping off of Sony and into Xbox, Xbox really needs to bring the heat with a lot of game franchises. Obviously, they got the Halos, the Forzas, and the Gears of War, which are the big 3 that they can rely on, but they need more. They need to rely on stuff like Rare and all these other companies that they've bought at this point to start producing some great exclusive content for the platform. Obviously, they just bought out Bethesda, which will bring a large variety of exclusives their way if they want to do it that way. So that's really exciting to think about for them. Obviously, exclusivity brings a different discussion into play because a lot of people played Skyrim on their PlayStation 3s, PlayStation 4s, Fallout big on the PlayStation as well. So to think of it as an exclusive as opposed to just Bethesda being able to be one of those E3 staples and bring a bunch of games will be different going forward. Going off that, I'll go over the other E3 mainstays. So we got Square, Ubisoft. Square, obviously I want more Final Fantasy. That they're making more Final Fantasy, so that's an easy one. Bring me some more Tomb Raider, obviously. I love me a good Tomb Raider game. That Avengers game didn't work out too well for them, so I hope if they stick with it, make it better, make it more fun. And Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest 11 was a big hit. Everyone loved it that played it. But if you want to make Dragon Quest 12, I'll be about it. And the only thing I have to say with Ubisoft is if they could slow the roll on the yearly releases, I know that most franchises that they have aren't yearly anymore, but even still, like letting the games breathe even a bit more, like having Assassin's Creed go from the 2-year cycle to even a 3-year cycle, will let the games evolve a lot more and will let each of them have a more distinct personality than they already have. Because as it stands, they're all kind of samey. They were very samey, and then Origins brought a new fresh, and now after that, they're very samey with that. I hope Ubisoft lets the game franchises breathe a little bit more. Also, they have stuff like Rayman and Splinter Cell that they're just not doing anything with, which I find silly to have those famous franchises and not touch them. But also, they could use those ideas to make new franchises. So, whatever it is, let the franchises breathe a little bit more. Then two other companies that don't have an E3 presence, what I think would be pretty cool if they did. Sega, another quick one, I want to see more franchises out of them other than Sonic, Yakuza, and even though I love Persona. These three franchises they've used a lot in the last couple years, but they have so many other franchises. Like the next game company we'll be talking about that they don't touch, and they're just sitting there stagnant in like this state of, well, we could use a sequel, but they just don't for some reason. It's crazy to think that Yakuza has taken off. That's one of the ones that they've held on to and really pushed forward, but it is. And then the next company is Capcom. I've discussed this a little bit in the past with other videos, but Capcom is killing it lately. But I obviously like to see more franchises come from them. Obviously, more and more and more and more is what I'm asking out of them. Capcom, I think, is doing a great job working with what they're doing. Off the top of my head, I'd like to see Devil May Cry 6, Street Fighter 6, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, stuff like that. I think would be really cool. You could also bring back Phoenix Wright. You could bring back Darkstalkers. You could bring back Dead Rising. So there are franchises there that are ripe for utilization, and they're perfect for franchise potential that they haven't quite tapped into yet. The final topic is one that's been in some hot water lately because of their own doing, and that is Nintendo. I love the Big N. I don't love what they've been doing recently with shutting down Melee events and closing down the Splatoon stream and all the strikes against people for music. I don't know what they're up to in the managerial side. Their game production obviously is slowed this year like everyone else, so you really can't fault them. I want that kind of mentality to stop. They go through phases like this where they'll just be terrible. As a diehard Nintendo fan, it sucks to see people ripping on them all the time, but when stuff like this happens, you obviously can't fault them for doing it. Going with just the game production side, I want to see Nintendo, again, use more franchises that they have dormant. They love to use the Zeldas and the Marios and the Pokemons, but there's the Punch-Outs, there's the F-Zeros, there's the Metroids, which they keep saying is working, but we haven't seen anything from it. There's the Pikmins, which will get a re-release every now and then, but we get one new game like every 10 years. And I get that some of these games are a once-in-a-generational thing, like your Mario Karts and your Animal Crossings, but some of them seem like they could be a once-in-a-generational thing, but they haven't been touched in a long time. Your Kid Icarus types, for instance. So they got franchises dormant as well. Those are the big key things on the last three here. And like I said before, they could get Level 5. If they take the publishing over from Level 5, they just let Level 5 do their thing. And they'll drop a Yokai Watch on the Switch. They'll put the Ni no Kunis and whatnot, whatever they want to make, with better publishing rights. And they've even worked really close in tandem before, because on Fantasy Life on the 3DS, Nintendo published it, so they have the relationship there. But yeah, maybe we'll get a better Switch coming. There's been rumors and speculations for a long time that there's a Switch Pro or a Mega Switch or whatever they want to call it. Not Switch 2, because that would imply a new generation for Nintendo, but I think we're only about halfway through the Switch's lifestyle. The Switch's life cycle, not style. But yeah, that about covers it just off the top of my head here for the new generation, what I want to see. Obviously, there's a lot more that'll come. If I got everything right, I would be blown away. But the odds are that I got everything wrong. But yeah, my letter to Santa this year might just be, hey, bring me every game I've ever wanted on the new console generation. He might fulfill me. He might, I don't know what the guy's doing up there. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you like this, make sure you like this. And I will see you at some point.